Let's see. All right, we are live.
Hey, everybody.
Now we are not
welcome to Fae. Huh?
We're not currently live on Facebook. Unfortunately, StreamYard has, since Facebook had its issue, lost connection, and I've gone through and tried to reconnect it, and Facebook is refusing the connection. So
okay, so we'll just share it on Facebook from YouTube.
Yeah,
okay.
We're live on YouTube, and then when this is all done and we've had our party, we will share it to the party room on Facebook, which
great.
That way it can be shared from there. The group is public, so it is possible to share from the group without issue.
Yep, you can share it to Twitter, you can share it to your blog, you can share it to wherever, because we're on YouTube, so anybody that types in Vacor will find us there. So I mean, if you guys want to send out messages on Facebook to let anybody that was supposed to be watching or whatever, let them know, hey, StreamYard is having some difficulties getting us on Facebook, so come watch us here, or wait for the whatever.
That's great.
But that does mean that normally we get these really nifty comments of people watching on Facebook while we're doing this. And
yeah, so it's kind of weird. Yeah, unfortunately that won't happen today. But hopefully, have you messaged our lovely interns? Will they be here this evening?
Neither of them answered. I messaged in Discord, but neither of them answered, so I do not know.
Okay. Give me a second.
So we're here to celebrate two different anthologies, both of them Fae Shivers. One's Remembered Nightmares, I think. Am I doing that one right? Is it Remembered Nightmares and
It's Forgotten Nightmares and Remembered Nightmares and Forgotten Horrors. There we go. See, this is what we get for naming them, having to come up. Yes, there we go. There's the cover. Is that our hardback, Linda?
This is the hardback.
That looks gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
Are those both of the paperbacks, Phil?
No, these are the hardbacks.
Those are the hardbacks. Those are so pretty.
There you go.
The paperback. Wow.
I'm so glad both of you got them.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm so glad that they came out no issues.
Yeah, everything came at once. I got the paperbacks and the hardbacks all in one big box. It was like Christmas Day. So,
I bet.
Awesome.
Yeah, mine came separately. So I got the hardback. And in fact, I think I even emailed you, Patty, and said, I don't have the paperbacks yet. And this morning, the package was there. So,
that's wonderful. I was worrying about that because, they had said that both were heading your way and then nothing.
Right.
Yeah, well, with the way the mail has been lately, it's no wonder. So, because I keep being told, you're going to get such and such package today. You're going to get such and such package on this day. And then I have to wait at least, like a day to a week before I actually get said package. And it's like, really? It's ridiculous.
So we have a post office box. So we've had it for 20 years. So it's like, everything goes there and we feel like it's safer there. But then over the past year, the mail has been just, I don't blame them, but the mail has just been horrible. So you've been, I'm always afraid that something is not going to be there, is not going to arrive. But it has been. And if it arrived here, the neighborhood where I am, people leave things on the porch. And frequently they disappear, so it's
safer.
Yeah, it's safer. Just go to the post office. It's safer.
I don't live in a very good neighborhood myself, so I understand that. When or something, it's we're watching the porch, and the worst part is I've got a ramp on my porch because my mother-in-law owned the house before we did, and she was in a wheelchair.
Okay.
And so I've come in from, grocery shopping before and found a package just inside the gate. The gate shut up against it at the bottom of my ramp. I found packages halfway up the ramp. I found packages.
It's because a lot of them have gotten lazy. They don't want to walk all the way up there, and they just kind of toss it. Like sometimes I'll be sitting here and I'll be waiting on a box, and all of a sudden it's like I'll hear this thud on my steps. And Patty, you've seen my steps. I have, I just have steps and a little itty bitty, platform thing. So it's just like, and so I go out there and my box is sitting like on the very edge of the thing because the person couldn't be bothered to actually walk all the way up and place it on there. And it's like, there could have been something fragile in there.
Yeah, I've got a really cute mailbox. It's plastic and looks like a house. I mean, it's adorable. It was my mother-in-law's. And she paid to have this thing, and it stands about yay tall. It's plastic all the way down. Well, I've gone out there a couple times and found the box sitting up on top of the mailbox, and I'm sitting there looking at it going, that's not where that belongs.
No.
So,
oh, sorry, go ahead, Patty.
I was going to say, why don't you guys tell us about your stories?
See,
the bottom.
Mine. Yep, like mine. Whoever wants to start, tell us.
Linda, ladies first.
Oh, you're such a gentleman, Phil.
Okay, so the story that I wrote, The Dark Ride, is I love the beach and I love the ocean, and I spend a lot of time in Rehoboth because I have friends who live there. And this was for a particular book for Cat and Mouse Publishing. That was the thing was beach. That was beach pulp is what they had. So I spent summers in Wildwood, New Jersey, spend just Ocean City. I'm from Maryland. So that combined with, I actually adore vampires and I wish I would meet one for real. And just the whole idea of the summer and the piers and and I worked on a pier when I was much, much younger. We're not in Rehoboth, but just the honky tonk, the carnival atmosphere of it. So that was, I had never actually been on that ride that I wrote about. But I do intend the next time that I'm there in the summer to go on the Haunted Mansion ride. So that's where it came from, was just trying to think of something scary, something supernatural, but set it in a place that was very familiar to people.
And Linda, you and I were both published in Beach Pulp, because I also have a great, deep and abiding love for the Delaware coast. It's like a second home for me. So I've worked with that particular publisher you mentioned, Cat and Mouse Press. In fact, this coming Saturday, we have our book launch for our next Cat and Mouse Press anthology. So I have a story in that as well.
Oh, that's right.
So the beach, the beach is, we have that one thing in common there is we both love the beach.
Yes.
But, this story, Break and Enter, had a very convoluted, circuitous genesis to get to you guys. It started off in two ways. One was a nightmare I had, and the other was another anthology that fell through from a publisher who I worked with on other books, and this was an idea that he had. He had this idea that would have involved the same exact storyline if you read Break and Enter, but if you take out the priest and the chapel and instead put in an old country store and its owner, you'd have almost the same exact story. And this was a shared universe anthology that this publisher, this other small press, was supposed to was planning to publish back in 2015, 2016, and it never came to fruition. It completely fell through, and the story sat there. And I loved the story so much. And then at one point I decided, well, I can't just let this story sit on my hard drive just because of this opportunity that fell through. So I rewrote it out of his shared universe, and I substituted the storekeeper for the pastor of the church and the church for the country store, and
Nice.
changed all the terminology inside so that, instead of going to the back stock room of the store, it was the sacristy of the church, or the narthex of the church, different things. So I had to really go through and comb through it and make sure I removed all those other terminologies from the previous version of the story. But also the idea came from a what if, right? Speculative fiction is all about what if.
Right.
What if I threw a psychotic killer in the same house with a demon-possessed teenager? Who would win that battle? Well, that kind of evolved, right? Because they were supposed to be in a house together. He breaks into a house running from the cops, and if you read the story, at one point he tells the priest, "I hid away in a shed, and I saw this family running out of their house in a panic. So I decided to go into the house, hide from the police until I encountered this demon-possessed girl." So that was the genesis of that. And actually, the whole thing, all of this kicked off with a nightmare I had about being trapped in a house with someone who was possessed. And the family literally took off and left me in this house. And there was no power. So it was completely dark. And I knew this girl was in the house, and I knew she was possessed, and I knew she was probably going to kill me. And and I woke up from this dream. And in fact, I woke up briefly, fell back to sleep again, to the point where I did manage to escape the house. And I found the family hiding out in some hotel somewhere, and I confronted them, and then that was the end of the dream. And I thought, well, how can I mix all of these things together and make a story? And so that's how all this came about. It seems rather fantastical origins of this thing, but and I don't have too many stories that have such bizarre origins as this, but all these ingredients were sort of mixed together to come up with Break and Enter. So I think it worked out well. It's one of my favorite horror stories I've written. So
I like it. It turned out really well. Now you said that both of you said that you were in an anthology before that. Before we came on here, Linda had mentioned that it was thanks to you that she made it into this because she sent hers in the last minute because you had mentioned being accepted.
yeah, your opportunity came up on. I belong to a number of Facebook groups that announce open calls for stories.
Yeah.
There's one group actually called Open Calls for Horror and Speculative Fiction, but there's also another small press called Celestial Echo Press. They're based out of Philadelphia area, and they share open calls from other small presses. And
I do that in our Discord. So.
Yeah, right. One of those two groups is where I heard about Fae and submitted. And then when I got accepted, I was really excited about it. And I mentioned it on the Cat and Mouse Press community Facebook page, which is Cat and Mouse Press's page for you can announce any success that you had. It doesn't have to be related to Cat and Mouse Press. It could be anything, any success at all. So I announced that on that group, the Fae Shivers anthologies, and that's when Linda picked up.
What's that?
Right.
What's that I hear?
Yeah. So Linda picked it up from there and ran with it. So
yeah.
Well, we are so glad to have both of you. Both of your stories were just amazing. I loved reading them, and I was just like, with all of the stories this time, I mean, I love reading all of the stories from all our anthologies and stuff, but like there were so many of y'all's stories that I was just like hooked on. And I'm just like, oh my God, I need to know more about, is this a world? Is it just a short little, one-shot thing? It's like, I need to know more.
Yeah, well, that was definitely
I had so many questions, especially yours, Phil. I was just like, How did
Yeah, and
that
it's
even
funny
happen?
I'm a big X-Files fan. I'm a big X-Files fan. I don't know if anybody here is an X-Files fan,
Oh yeah.
but there was an
Oh,
episode.
yeah.
There was an
I was
episode.
when I was younger, not so
Yeah.
much now.
Not so much. Well, the later X-Files episodes weren't so hot, but the early on, the first like 6 or 7 seasons, they were absolutely wonderful.
Right.
And there was an actor by the name of Steve Railsback, who
Yes.
was a movie actor, who was in an episode of the X-Files, and his name was Dwayne Barry.
Yeah.
I remember that
And he
one.
always referred to himself in the third person.
Yes.
And that's why in my story, Tito, that character of Tito Carver in my story, who always refers to himself in the third person, is a tribute to Dwayne Barry. When he says, "Ain't nobody gonna take Tito
Gotcha.
Carver tonight," ain't nobody gonna take. That's his like line at the beginning, and of course that's his closing line at the end of the story.
Wow.
That was my tribute to Dwayne Barry, because I met Stephen Railsback. Really cool guy. He made an impression on me when I met him, because he's just a regular guy. I chatted with him at an autograph show. We just sat back and chatted for a while, and he was really cool. And I thought, that Dwayne Barry. I mean, how many people do you encounter in life that refer to themselves in the third person?
Right.
You don't really hear that. So I thought that's a unique thing to add, so it's a little nod to X-Files in the story as well. So so you can add that little ingredient into the story as well. So yeah.
Yeah, we like when we do our anthologies too, and this is sometimes why we split them. It might not always be that there's a whole lot of good writing. We try and always put good writing in, but sometimes we accept ones that aren't as good because there's a nugget of potential. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I do.
Yeah.
And those get heavily edited to make them good because we can't. But we like, when we get an anthology together, we like to have, like with Fae Shivers, there was a theme throughout. Each of the two had horror, but like one was more otherworldly and one was more personal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we were trying for that. We didn't actually get any bad submissions this time. And we don't often get bad submissions, but there have been a few where, we've sat there and we've looked at it and go, that one really needs work, or that one really doesn't fit the theme. But we try not to do that too often because, like I said before, we are here to support the author, not necessarily. It sounds bad to say we're not necessarily here to make money, but we aren't. Money's not the defining factor for Faecore.
Yeah.
Because it comes down to, we want to produce books that are memorable in our anthologies. We want to produce books that people actually want to read. And that comes sometimes with teaching authors how to improve themselves. It also comes sometimes with teaching an author to see what's good about their work.
Yeah.
Okay. We had at least one in this group that a couple people who read through it, myself included, said, "Oh, that's very Poe-like," because it was.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a couple that, this story really worked because it was in with this story and that story. Our methodology in how we do things kind of confuses people sometimes, because that's part of why we do Discord, because it helps we started off with Facebook Messenger. And the problem with Facebook Messenger is any off-topic conversation and you lose whatever it was you were talking about.
Right. It becomes unwieldy quickly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we moved to Slack, which Slack is not as good. It just really isn't. It's got some serious downsides to it. And then we moved to Discord, and we're going to stick with Discord because we like it.
Mm-hmm.
But in Discord, I'm able to put in a room for each anthology and go, okay, here's all of the stories smushed into a rough draft. Tell me what you want your story to be. If it's, if the ones around it look good to you, or if you want it somewhere else in the book. Okay. And then I want you to look through as we're going through and make sure there's no editing issues.
Mm-hmm.
And, once I get a copy of the edited version, which Cindy and I both split up, Lily and I, we split up and put, I will take this amount and edit, give suggestions, and she'll take the rest. And then we get all of the edits back and put them into the rough and make it cleaner and neater as it goes along. And we have the authors read through. And we ask them to read through not just theirs, but everybody's. Because the idea is the more eyes on a document, the less typos and errors that slip by. The same idea comes in with beta readers and alpha readers and the like. You want to get as little typos and unedited stories and such in a book as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
So that by the time it gets to the reader, it's something worth reading.
Yeah. I know somebody caught something. It was a spacing thing in mind that I hadn't noticed. That was, that was nice having some other eyes looking at stuff like that.
Yeah, I actually belong to a local writers group here in the Lehigh Valley part of Pennsylvania. We have our own critique group where we actually, it's every Wednesday night, and we can actually bring the first, say, 700 to 800 words of your story and read it in a situation like this, in a Zoom type meeting where you can get live feedback instantly. And I also have another group of writers that I worked with, like yourselves, starting up these anthologies to help up and coming writers. I did the same thing with another publisher. I have a 3 anthology series that's speculative fiction. So it's got horror, it's got fantasy, it's got science fiction. And the entire goal was that I knew a number of writers who were exceptionally talented and struggling to get their stories into magazines and other anthologies. And I wanted to give them a chance to shine. So I went to that particular publisher and I said, hey, if I put together manuscripts of these stories, would you be interested in reading them to publish? And he said, sure, if you edit. And I said, okay, deal. So one book turned into 2, turned into 3, and it was a similar goal to what you just talked about, where you're reaching out to help writers. And yes, I did receive some subpar submissions, I guess, if you will, that needed more work than other writers who were a bit more experienced. Because we did have a mix. We had some seasoned writers to sort of give the book some of that prestige, some of that recognition. But 75% of the writers were up and coming, had not been published before, or maybe were published once before. And in some cases, yeah, there was some more work. But the nice thing about it, and I hope you experienced this too, that every writer was so grateful for the help we were giving them. No one was defensive about their edits. No one became argumentative. It was like very, very thankful and helpful. They appreciate the help. So
we've had ones who um, for whatever reason, decided that they didn't like what we had to say. But most of them are amazing. We've really had more people go, okay, we appreciate this, and go with it. But there are the ones that, like in the last anthology, we had a poet who she started off wanting us to change the contract for her, which, okay, we discussed that and changed the contract. And then she was very pricklish when it came to dealing with the edits and such. She wasn't a bad person, and her writing was wonderful, but it was like walking up against a cactus trying to get her to deal with it.
As it happens sometimes, but you're doing a good thing. You're doing a good thing, If those are the rarer occasions, you're doing a good thing for writers and really helping them out, and I definitely appreciate that. So,
hello.
Hi.
I hope I'm not too late.
Nope, we're about halfway through, but you're absolutely on time. We've been discussing stories and general, I want to say BS, but it's not BS, general edits and such.
adventures in publishing.
Yeah.
Adventures in publishing, that's the word. So, Mike, tell us about your story.
Well, it was originally a story I did for a prompt a long time ago, like before Fae was even a thing. We were just a small Facebook group, just doing small prompts to encourage each other to write. And I honestly forgot what the prompt was. It was so long ago. But I thought if I took this small story and expanded it a little bit, it would really work well for this volume. And basically, I was thinking of when dealing with the supernatural, you absolutely need to know what it is you're dealing with, because you also might try the wrong thing on the wrong creature as well. Like, stick through the heart will kill a vampire, but it may not kill a werewolf, for example, or other things like that. Things that will work on one thing may not work on another.
Yeah.
So it's a case of possible misidentification.
Yeah. Mike's one of those that's been with us from the beginning, so that's why he.
Because I haven't been in the last volume just because time constraints.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the last one was the only one that you haven't been in, but you've been in all the other ones since the beginning.
And I was working on it, but I just could not get through it in time. So,
yeah.
Rather than stress
and just so
myself
you
out,
guys know, he works for the post office. So.
That's what you say about the post office.
Yes, I work for the post office.
At the beginning of this,
we were.
Hang on 1 second. I'm using my phone right now, and my volume's maxed out. Can barely hear people. I'm gonna try getting my Bluetooth speaker.
Okay.
All right, so now you can keep talking about the post office until he gets his Bluetooth speaker.
Right.
Well, I think, doesn't he actually work for Amazon delivery, or is it actually the post office?
No, he works for the actual post office. So he is an actual postman that drives around, and he lives up in Greenville, so he drives to a lot of out of the way places, because I've seen Petty, you've seen the pictures that he's posted in one of our groups.
Oh, yeah.
He posts pictures of like when he sees like certain animals, because like I think there's pictures on there of him seeing a peacock at one time, wasn't there, Mike?
God.
Yeah, I know.
And actually, there's multiple peacocks and peahens at that location. There's even a
so he'll
albino one.
Yep, he'll post, pictures so that we can see, all the kinds of animals and stuff that he sees on his adventures during the day.
Yep.
And
That's part of my
where
office
is it?
profile too.
North
This is
Carolina.
in North Carolina. He lives, what is it, about 2 hours from me, Mike?
Hour and a half. Well, maybe
Hour and a half? Yeah, hour and a half. I guess it depends on the traffic. He's kind of like in the middle eastern part of North Carolina, and I'm closer to the south part of North Carolina. I'm in between Greenville and Wilmington. So
Okay.
I'm in Jacksonville, the home of Camp Lejeune. Woo.
There you go.
We end up with a lot of authors all over the world. We actually, one of the authors that has joined us quite often, Tish, she is been in several of our anthologies. She lives in Canada. She today, or was it yesterday? One of the two. She just released her second book. So go Tish!
There you go.
Yay, Tish! Woo! Yeah, her paperback came out yesterday, and her ebook, I think, came out
Last
Friday, was it?
Mm-hmm.
It was last week at some point, but her paperback came out yesterday. So, so we're very proud of Tish because she's, other than this one and the last one, she was in all the other anthologies. It's just the last two with her. She was working on her cousin's book, and she was working on her book. So everything was kind of too convoluted and crazy for her. So we're hoping she gets to write with us again soon.
I regularly beta read for her too, so.
You're a beta reader for most of us.
I like doing that.
I'm halfway through her book because I was a beta reader for her too, and I got through the first half, but I haven't had time to sit down for the second half.
Yeah, I've had to actually swear off short stories for a while because I'm working on paranormal mystery novel number 4 right now, which is long overdue. I actually had a third draft of a science fiction novel done, and it needs a bit more tweaking, more work. So I said, well, part of it is near future technology, which if you are writing a near future technology book, good luck keeping up with what's actually happening, thanks to the likes of Elon Musk and everybody else.
Things in the near future might actually already be happening.
Exactly.
Well,
so you have to really adjust.
Technology marches on.
Yeah.
From what I understand with technology, if it's out for sale, it's been considered outdated for at least 2 years.
Right. Yeah. Luckily, I'm just far enough ahead on things like starship propulsion and exotic matter and wormholes and things like that I can still be.
I consider that distant future. Like
the plot basically takes place starting about 10 years from now, when a young astronomy student is gifted an alien technology that will allow us to create wormholes and travel through space.
Wow.
So I can play with that. Yeah, so it doesn't actually have to be, but there are other elements of that story that are near future technology, like plasma drives and things like that are already in play right now.
I can dig it.
So I have to be careful with this to not be, this has been, by the time the book is then published, as you goes through critique and drafts and out beta readers, and by that time, there's our first plasma drive. Oh darn,
Right?
Rats. Oh,
I think that's why I avoid that sort of thing because.
That's why I stick with urban fantasy. I stick with high fantasy. I do steampunk. It's like I'm not messing with that other stuff. It's like everybody else can deal with that. Nope, I'll stay in my fantasy. Thank you.
My science fiction is off-world, future, far future, other part of intergalactic, some other part of the galaxy. But this is my first attempt at something near future. So, but a lot of people who have been reading my paranormal mystery novels were asking me where the heck is the next one, and I thought, okay, well, let me jump on it and start on it. So as tempting as so many, I mean, like I said, I belong to all these Facebook groups that are advertising all these open calls, and it's like squirrel. oh, that one,
Yeah.
that one,
Yeah.
that one. I want to write for
Mhm.
like 50% of them when they come out. But I thought, no, you have
Exactly.
you gotta discipline
for
yourself.
all these indie books all the time.
I know it's tough
Mhm.
because it's so much fun. And of course, there's that certain element, let's admit it, of instant gratification because it's a short story. You can write it quicker than a novel,
Yeah.
Yes.
and you're getting them out there. You're getting it. I've had like 9
Yep.
short stories published this year, so it's like great. It's a high, it's a great high to be on. But then you got to
Mhm.
realize, you know what? If you want to get that novel out, the next novel out, discipline yourself, sit down, swear off the short
Oh my
stories
goodness.
for a while, and really work on
Well,
longer.
See,
So.
I
Yeah,
have like
That's kind of
novel ideas
that's
that-
kind of where I'm at the moment because I actually have a book. Actually, I have 3 books published. 2 of them are children's books, though, but those are under my actual name, Cindy. But my first fantasy novel has already been published, but although everybody that has read it loves it, I don't. So I have been trying to work on it. And I'm slowly trying to like add some more. Cause I mean, I had some, a lot of people were like, well, you need to do this, or, can you do this, or could you add more about that? So what I'm doing is I'm going back, I'm adding a lot of stuff. I'm taking out a lot of stuff. And some of the stuff that happens in this book is getting taken out completely and getting put in a second book. So like my main character, whose name actually happens to be Lily, it's Liliana. The first book is going to be solely on it. The first book is solely her issues, her, coming of age, her becoming queen, and all this bullshit that, comes with being a monarch. But it's in a fantasy setting. And then the spoiler for Linda and Phil, the kidnapping of the Archmage will be happening in the second book. I'm going to be pushing that off, and the second book will be completely about the Archmage. So I think it'll be a little bit more cohesive.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, but I want to have it. When was I supposed to have that to you, Patty?
I'm wanting to say around January, but I might be wrong. I've slept since
February? Well, not January, because we've got Heather's book in January to work on, to edit and such. No, I think I have till like February. I'll be lucky if I have it to you in March.
Well, and then February, we've also got the deadline February 1st for the next anthology set.
For the next anthology, too. Yep.
So,
yeah.
We're taking a break after today. I mean, we're going to do, the party room's going to be hopping December, the first week, because we're going to do a children's week where we put all of mine and Cindy's kids' books to a discounted price, and I'm releasing 2 more to add to it. And we're going to be doing.
And if I can get my shit together, I'll have a child's. It'll be like a alphabet coloring book kind of thing that I'm doing.
Nice.
Which
Nice.
you
You still need to get those
to me. You still need to get those to me if you want me to lay them out in a book setting for you.
Oh no, I have to finish them first. So I'm still slowly with everything that's been going on the last couple of weeks. It's like I have not hardly done anything but clean my house and play ESO.
Well, I'm recovering from bronchitis, so I've pretty much slept the last 3 weeks. But what we're going to do in December is there's going to be games in the kids' room. I mean, in the kids' room. Oh, goodness. In the party room for kids. And then the kids that participate, we've got a little activity book that I'm going to print out and actually mail. It's got like a couple of coloring pages and little word search, that sort of thing. I mean, it's nothing really. But it'll make the kids happy,
Sure.
And we're going to, I know we've got at least 4 kids whose parents are going to be helping them participate because, you know, they want the little book for their kids. So, but like I said, we're going to have 2 book releases that week for kids' books, and we're going to be advertising and cutting the prices on books that Cindy and I already have out for that. And then, I mean, we have a full year planned for next year. We've got the 2 anthologies I mentioned before, the D&D style adventure stories and self-care are the 2 that are going to be due on February. Our blog will have the calls for that as of the 1st of December. I've already scheduled them. And then, of course, our Discord gets the calls a month or so ahead because I put them in there last month, I think. And then we'll be doing those will come out in May. And we've got a couple of, we've already got like 3 single author books scheduled. Ashira Data.
Not counting our own.
Yeah, not counting our own. Ashira Data, Raz Slasher, and I don't remember the other author. Goodness. I know we've got someone else scheduled, but I can't remember who it was.
Wasn't it Beulah?
Might have been. It was somebody.
Or is it Ashira?
Yeah, it might be Ashira. We might have 2 books scheduled for her. I
Oh
don't know.
no, we have 2 books scheduled for her because she's putting out her first one, because this will be her second book. That's the first one we're doing for the year. And then we're putting her 3rd book out
Halloween.
Later in the year.
Yeah. And then we've got towards Halloween, the anthology that we've got planned there is Darkness Screams is the title. So
we're trying to stay with the theme that we've been going with, because we've got, last year was
Nightmare Whispers.
Nightmare Whispers, and then this year it was, the Forgotten Nightmares or Forgotten Horrors and Remembered Nightmares. And then so next year it'll be
another horror theme. Sure.
Cool. Yep. Well, yeah, because we try to stay with horror, thriller kind of deal, during that time of year, because, it's that time of year.
Sure.
That's usually what people want to read and see. So,
And like I said, other than the Kids Week, we're pretty much on vacation after this because it's been a busy year.
It has. Absolutely it has.
So
we kind of overbooked ourselves this year, so we have been. It's been one book after another.
We had.
You guys have been pretty.
If it wasn't an anthology book for the month, we had a single author, and we did have one for every month, whether it be anthology or single author.
Yeah.
So this is a well-earned vacation.
I would say so.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think we announced it. Go ahead, Phil.
I was just saying, I've been reading through, the Fae Shivers books shortly after I got them, and I could tell. I think Patty, I think you had mentioned that one book was geared toward, or maybe it was you, Lily, who had said more personal stories, and the other book was geared toward more otherworldly stories. I'm going to take a shot in the dark here and say that Remembered Nightmares is more of the personal end type stories, and Forgotten Horrors seems to be more otherworldly, fantastical themes. Absolutely evident in the books. Yeah. So I finished Remembered Nightmares. Working my way through Forgotten Horrors. So yeah, enjoying it. Absolutely.
Well, that's good.
They were. Yeah, they were really, the stories, like she said, even though I was having technical issues, I could still hear you. So, like she said, there were no bad stories this time at all. We were like, we're going to have to break this into 2 books because there's too many awesome stories that we've gotten, because they were just so wonderful. It's like I was creeped out by so many of them. Like one of them, I had to give it to her just to let y'all know, if you write anything about clowns, Patty will be reading it because I'm terrified of them. And Vonnie wrote a story about them, and I was like, Patty, you can have this story. I read about 3 sentences in, and I was like, nope. I was like, not going to be able to get through it. I was like, I tried, but I couldn't do it. Does she have the it thing?
Yes.
What is that?
Yeah,
no, I can't. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I blame Poltergeist and the original It. That's why I'm terrified of clowns. So, which is funny because my husband teases me because I love jesters. But I'm terrified of clowns.
Yeah, jesters are slightly different.
So it's just,
Well, and on that theme, we ended up delaying the release date of these anthologies to the middle of December. God, I'm so needy.
November, dear.
I know, to the middle of November. Because at Halloween, we released a single author book. The gentleman who's in the anthology set, Raz T. Slasher, he did a book about a mime. And it's kind of a mix between a mime and an eldritch horror and an 80s slasher film.
It was so good, though. Oh, my goodness.
So we wanted to give his book, although he wouldn't have cared, but we wanted to give his book at least its own release date without crowding everything in.
Sure.
Yeah, we didn't want to, because for our single authors, we want to give all of our attention to you on your release week. We don't want to have to be worried about, an anthology coming out at the same time, so that was why we were like, let's just do Raz's It at Halloween because he's like our, I don't know, I guess we could call him our horror expert, like our main horror person.
I mean, like Raz Slasher.
Yeah.
Well, that's his author name, so, but.
Yeah, that's his pen name.
Yeah, but, so we were like, let's just, we'll give him Halloween. And I think that was why we also moved Heather's, Ashira Datya. When we put out her 3rd book, it'll be getting put out, I think we decided September.
I don't know. I know you've got a calendar already worked up. I
have a calendar set up or whatever, but because of the fact that for Raz, it seems wrong if we put his books out anywhere else other than Halloween, right. Because they're all, they're scary, thriller, suspenseful, all of that wrapped into one book. And it's like the book that he just put out it took me a while to read it because it's huge, but it's so good and so worth the read. So.
Excellent.
If you guys want to check it out, it's called Silence is Crimson.
Mm-hmm.
So what he ended up naming it. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you've seen, like the banner in our.
Yeah, and I also believe I know I received an email from him as part of the Bram Stoker Award judging. So I don't know if he submitted that. I actually submitted Break and Enter as well as one other story to Bram Stoker. Yeah, so.
He submitted it for the Bram Stoker Award, but as it is technically a reprint, he didn't get it.
Yeah. He got disqualified because you can't put reprints up for the Bram Stoker Award. Unfortunately, that's one of their rules.
Right.
And
sadly.
it's a reprint, but it's not a reprint.
Yeah.
There's a long convoluted story, but basically he had published the story with another publishing house a few years back, and the house went under, and so he redid the story, redid the book. There was a joke that he had put in to catch whether or not the editors were paying attention, and they really weren't. The original manuscript had a recipe in it for a yellow cake.
Which he kept in this volume.
I thought he took that out.
In this, no, he kept it in. I'm pretty sure he kept it in.
Well,
I think he kept it in.
No, I think he took it out.
I don't know now. I don't know. I've read so many stories and stuff over the last 6 months that
everything.
I don't know.
Yeah, believe
it's just all kind of blurred. It's all kind of blurred together. It's like I remember.
That's why we need the vacation, dear.
Yeah, that's why we need the vacation. Yeah, because we announced it that from here on out, after the last whatever it is, whether it's a single author or an anthology, once the middle of November is passed, we are on vacation until the 1st of February. Mm-hmm. January, we're going to be working like in the background because we've got editing and, stuff to do. But as far as, really, being involved with or releases or anything, you won't really, we'll pop in and say hi and, check on, see how everybody's doing, obviously, over the holidays. But work related.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot.
Blog and such because, that's a thing. We do that, but little work stuff, but nothing, like huge. It's like we're taking a break from, we won't be reading anything like a lot, like anything big until January. So, that's one of our interns. Hi, Jenny. Hi. This is Jenny, guys. This is one of. She was there. I'm sorry.
Yep. This is one of our interns, and thank God for our interns. If it wasn't for her and Aslan, Patty and I would be so behind, it's not even funny. We wouldn't be sitting here doing this release party because they have taken off so much stress for us because Jenny handles our newsletter. And Aslan,
because we had a mix-up. MailChimp didn't want to send it out until the 24th, but it is going to be coming out on the 24th.
All right.
Okay, good. Okay, and then Aslan takes care of our... What?
I said everybody needs to read Patty's story.
Oh, yes. Actually, it'll be in the newsletter.
I write as Patty for the kids' books and the poetry, but my stories are all by Serena Mossgraves. So
yeah, but it's the same person to me. It's like, hey, it came out her beautiful mind.
Yes. That's just like with me. I do my kids' stories under kids and like teen, not quite YA, but kind of in the middle grade, kind of anything up to like age 12, we'll say 13. I do under my legal name, and then anything that's 14 and above is Lily.
Right.
So
yeah.
Well, I was going to write all of them, everything, as Patricia Harris, which that's what I started out doing because there's a long story to it, but I hated my name for a long time because the person that had used it when I was a child, the only thing he would call me is by my full name, and it got me to where I hated my name. I didn't want to hear it because it was scary, and I decided I was going to take it back. That's why I write under my full name.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly.
But then somebody pointed out that a lot of parents don't particularly care for their books that they're buying their kids to be written by horror writers. It's not a good thing, apparently.
So that was why the two of us decided to come up with pen names instead of having our, we decided, we were like, okay, maybe we should separate our kids' books from our horror and steampunk and, stuff, because I have a book that will be coming out eventually that definitely does not need to be under my normal name because of some of the content that's in it. It's an urban fantasy book that touches on some touchy subjects.
It's got some other dark spots. So
is it the one about the Tiefling priest is one of the characters and
it has the tiefling in it. It's the book that you're thinking of, but it's going to be a little bit different than what you've read so far. So
okay.
He's like my main beta reader, so he knows all about all of my stories. Him and Patty and now Jenny. So
I'm very grateful.
Eventually it'll come out. And I'm very grateful that you're part of it.
And so listen, can I speak for you, Phil? I think we're very grateful too.
Sure. I mean, I never. 12 years. I've published 3 novels and probably about almost 25 short stories. And you know what? I don't care. I want to do this for the rest of my life. It never gets old. It's always fun.
Yeah.
It's always a feeling of gratitude with each story that gets out there in front of people's eyes. And as Patty said, it's not always about the money. It's about getting my work out there for people to read.
Yeah.
And honestly, part of it is prosperity. I'm leaving something behind.
Yeah.
I will not be forgotten someday. That my stories will hopefully outlive me.
Well, exactly. That's exactly right. Those of us that have grandchildren, this is something that we want to leave for them.
Yeah.
I know my kids and grandkids are going to enjoy your stories. Oh yeah, thank you both for the happy dances of my kids.
Well, I gotta say, it's thanks to your kids I actually picked up the pen for some of the kids' stories again. The 2 that I'm about to release in December are entirely your little boy's fault.
them.
Oh, that's interesting. Tell us more. How did that come about?
Dante loves Pip the Pup. We have read Pip the Pup. I've lost count times. And he keeps
Which
saying
is Patty's story.
More. So I messaged Patty inquiring Dante's want to know, is there going to be more Pip the Pup books? And she said, I think I can make that happen. She did. And Dante.
What?
This
yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Dante. Hey, little man. He's like, oh my God, who are all these people?
No, recently, Jenny asked me to read an excerpt from a Goosebumps book for him, and it was fun. I enjoyed that.
Everybody who's read it so far enjoys it. It is 2 of my nephew and my daughter's favorite book series.
Nice.
Awesome.
And so you had, as Fae, you've had a stable of writers from the beginning, it sounds like. Michael, of course, being one of them.
We've
had Michael. Let's see, we had Mike, Tish. See, who else have we? Raz has been in most of them.
Ever since the Nightmare last year. Honestly, from the beginning, most of the authors that have written for us have come back a couple of times. It's not, Bonnie's been in several of them. We published a single author book for her, but she's been in several of the anthologies as well. It's really not that hard to say that we're a family or a tribe because we've got so many that come back. And we love having them back because it feels right to have these authors who they put their heart and their souls into their stories and make, no complaint about dealing with our eccentricities of how we edited.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, there's
You
a
know, and
couple.
You,
Well,
you
there's
know,
a couple of writers that me and Cindy will fight over. I want to edit that story out of the group.
Mhm.
Right.
Raz
Like
didn't want
this, like when it came time to edit Raz's book for his single author, I told Patty, I was like, I would really like to edit his story. I said, because all his other stories that we've published is that you've gotten to edit.
There you go.
So I got to edit not only his story for the anthology, but I got to edit his book as well.
There you go.
So that made me feel good.
That's another key element is you're building writing community, which is nice as well. That's a big part of this.
And that was the whole point of why we made Fae is because we have had, her and I had a few bad experiences with a couple of other writing communities. And we were like, you know what? What are we doing? It's like, why don't we just put one together ourselves?
Right.
So we did. You know, we thought we would try it out. You know, the very first book we did was kind of it was the trial to see if we could do it and see if we could, you know, get this done and, you know, get a bunch of writers together and put an anthology together.
Sure.
And now we just published how many anthologies do we have out now?
I believe we have out 12.
Yeah.
12?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 12 that we have out. And that's not counting the, like, how many single authors? 5, 6, at least?
Like, we have, the first one was Under the Mist. That was, we had other friends who were excited. They were in writing communities with us, and they were like, sure, we can do this. You know, that one we didn't put out a call for. It was us talking to our friends going, let's do this. And we built the company from that.
Right.
It was Under the Mist, Through the Sunshine, Fairy Footprints, Fae Dreams, and I'm not sure I'm calling them in order, by the way.
Close enough.
Under the Sunshine, Fairy Footprints, Fae Dreams, Nightmare Whispers, which had 3 different books in it. It was Nightmare Whispers, Darkness something.
Yeah, see, we put out so many anthologies that they kind of run into each other.
I understand.
And we're just like, oh my goodness, what the heck?
The Darkness Within. Then the next one was I can't remember the middle one. I cannot remember the middle one to save my life.
I can't either.
The last one was What Remains out of that series. And then there was Fairy Playground, which was about kids, fairy kids. And that one actually had one by Raz in it that the tone of the book wasn't, you know, you think fairy kids, you think it's going to be up and light. No, the tone of that book got some very, very dark feel to it.
Yeah, it's like the stories that we got, we were just like, well, okay, so we're going towards the dark side on this one. Okay, cool.
Which one is this?
So
Fairy
this was our Fairy Playgrounds.
Oh.
Yeah, it was supposed, you know, we were hoping that it was going to be, you know, people were going to take a break from all the, you know, the dark stuff that we've been doing and, you know, make something fun. And, oh, no, that didn't happen. So we were like, okay, whatever. You know, because, I mean, the stories were good. So.
Oh, yeah, they were very good. But after Fairy Playgrounds, it was Into the Glen, Into the Light, and Into the Glen Under the Shade. Because we had to split that one.
We had to split that one because we had so many. That just makes us, when we get so many authors or stories, you know, that we have to split this into 2 books. the two of us are just like pinching ourselves because we're like, is this really happening? It's like we are having so many submissions come to us that we're having to go, we have to split this into 2 books.
Sure.
You know, and then one of them, I think it was wasn't it Into the Glen? Wasn't that one that we actually had to tell a couple of people that they were going to have to wait because we couldn't do the 3-book thing anymore because that just stressed us out way too much trying to do 3 books at once.
Yeah.
So
we actually,
and we hate doing that.
when we actually had, at least I've got a folder in our email of rejections because we had so many come in and they were wonderful, but they were not appropriate to the theme that we were going for.
Right.
And we could have done a 3rd book out of the rejections. And I hate rejecting people. I do.
Yeah.
That's gotta be the worst part.
Which is usually why I do it.
No.
I usually hand them off to her
it's not that I enjoy doing them because I don't, but it's a little bit easier for me to do it. You know, I can, you know, I hate doing it, but I don't, she has enough stress because she has to deal with the actual publishing part. You know, she does the layout, she puts the books together, she gets them up on the website. So, you know, I do as much of the editing and the rejecting as possible so she doesn't have to stress out about that.
Gotcha.
So we know if you contact us that it's probably bad news. But if Patty contacts us, it's good.
Maybe, but not always. Not always.
There you go.
I'm not always the rejecter, you know.
We usually we try and even with the individual authors, we try and offer a little bit of a complete service. I do book covers and offer them to the indie author that, you know, we take in. I mean, I don't
There's actually a channel on the Discord that has, you know, all the covers that she's done that are in there.
And some that Cindy's done. We offer the editing with
3/4 of them are hers. So don't let her push that off. Don't let her try to be too humble there. I think I have like maybe 3 up there and the rest of them all hers.
I have fun with it. I like to design covers. That's part of the fun. So
it stresses me out too much.
I really should have been born in like the Middle East and, you know, Grecian area in the Renaissance because I like playing with art. So
they're beautiful. I mean, they're really.
I know, right? She does such a good job.
Oh yeah.
Anyone remembers Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what reminds me of the art from those books. Have you ever remember how awesome that art was?
Yeah. Yeah, Vonnie did some amazing artwork for this anthology this time. They were so good.
Admittedly, Vonnie was a lot of the reason why I split the anthology this time. We have
she gave us 2 stories.
She gave us 2 stories and a whole bunch of art and a couple of poems. And I mean, there was so much material and all of it was so good. And I wanted it all.
As always.
But with the limitations of a paid anthology, you can only split 100% so many ways.
Yep.
If I'm paying each author 10% for a story, I only have so many slots that I can fill.
Yep.
So it logistically comes down to I only have, if I want to put art and poetry, which I pay 1% for the art and poetry out of the And yes, I'm usually the one that's sending the payments because
she handles that too.
But when I set it up, Draft to Digital has a pay range, where they'll let me send an email to you to split payments. Okay. None of the others do. So I have to split the payment.
Yep.
And if I'm going to be splitting the payment for all of us, I need to be sure that I've got enough to go around. So when I'm sitting there talking to Cindy about, well, which stories we want, we have a limited space.
So we're sitting here going, okay, so we're going to do this many, so with Vonnie's, because we had so much of hers, we put one story in one book, one story in the other book, and then we just split her. I think I think both of her poetry went into one book.
No, I think
we
split poetry and art in equal. I'm not sure. I'd have to look.
Well, no, I know the art we split, but I wasn't sure about the poetry. I couldn't remember if it was.
I think we did.
If we split it or not, but well, Linda and Phil can tell us. They're the ones, they're reading the books now. So
yeah, I have to go back through and see if you guys did split Vonnie's poetry up. But
yeah. I do know that I usually, whatever art we need that isn't submitted, because I do try and separate it out a bit so that there's art and such in between stories to make it look better, I guess.
Kind of break it up a little bit.
Usually,
her stuff is so. I'm glancing at the pictures in this one. Her artwork is so much fun.
Yeah, it is. It really is. What I usually do is I fill in my art. For whatever space we need that is not already taken up with art. Because I want to separate it out some, and where I'm the editor, I don't necessarily have to count all of mine. I count if I've got a story in there, because at that point, that's the only way I'm going to get a portion of payment.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, we don't count Fae as one of the slots. So Fae does not make any money on the paid anthologies. That's why we do unpaid ones every year, so that we do have an income coming in.
Yeah.
Yep.
A bit of interest, if anybody actually cares. The anthology we did, Fairy Footprints, not only has me, but it has my two sons in it as well. Both of them put poetry in for that one. So
that is so cool.
That's very cool.
Yep, they were pretty good.
Yeah,
they're pretty good. They got their mama's talent.
Well, my eldest doesn't write a whole lot of poetry, but he wrote one love poem to his high school sweetheart. And when I asked him for it to put in there, he was like, "Yeah, sure, Mom. Here."
Yeah, sure. No big deal.
Yeah,
but
because I think with Fairy Footprints, we had a couple of holes. We wanted to fill it. We wanted to make sure that it was, a decent amount of things in there. So we needed a couple of filler things. So we were trying to find people that would do some art or some,
Yeah, that was actually our second anthology. So, so we were scrounging a bit more there than we have been with any of the others.
But now we don't have to. It's like now we haven't had to ask for filler. It's like now we're getting way more than than we know what to do with. So we're just like, it's like, okay, we really like your story, but we're going to need to put it in a different anthology, coming later this year or next year because we don't have the room.
We're going to have to put it in the newsletter, which we do.
Right.
Our intern Jenny here, she does our newsletter, and she makes it look wonderful, but it's usually an art, a poem, and a story. That's how we do it. and she picks them out. We put all the ones that come in her inbox, as it were, in Discord, and she picks it out and makes it look gorgeous, and we send it out. November's the only time it's going to be late.
Thank you so much.
We should be back to on the 1st. So
hopefully, Jenny, will we back? Are we back on track?
Yes.
Well, she had it to me on time.
Okay.
MailChimp that messed up.
I'd get it to her as early as I
Yeah.
could.
Oh no, I know. Yeah, MailChimp. That was my fault. I dropped the ball on that one, so it was okay. It happens. It happens.
Yeah, it'll go out on the 1st again in December, but it'll go out on the 24th in November because we had a hiccup. So
yep, we had a little hiccup.
That's fine with me. Listen, I was just gonna
go ahead, Linda.
I was just going to say I have to take off, and I'm so sorry to leave. I just loved the time we spent here, and learning.
And it's been about an hour, so we're actually a little over the time we normally go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, normally we only do this an hour, but we'll continue if people want to listen or talk or whatever. So it's not a big deal. But if you have to go, we completely understand. No apologies necessary.
I just enjoyed it.
We loved having you.
Thank you.
We loved having you, and it was wonderful.
I am going to be pursuing Fae core for
We'd love to have.
We look forward. We look forward to continuing having your stories because they are amazing, Linda.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you, Linda. Have a great night.
Now I'm signing. I'm actually trying to find out how I sign off. Leave studio. I'm just
there you go.
There you go.
Good night.
Take care, Linda.
Bye.
Bye.
Really quick, I was going to say that I'm sad that Linda's going to miss this, but when we were talking about how Jenny is the fault of children's books, she is her son again is that her son, actually all three of her children are the fault of why I am doing the alphabet. I don't know if you guys can see my art here.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to see if I have can you see that one?
That's cool. I like that.
Light. There we go.
Yeah, no.
That's so cool.
There we go.
Yep.
Like I said, you need to scan them in once you get them done so I can put them in book format.
No, I know. I will. I know. Well, I'm almost done with one of the 3 books that I have to do. So, like I said, it's been kind of crazy, between the anthologies and the authors and all my crap. Dante, I was doodling and I showed Jenny the pictures and she showed Dante and we were talking about something. And then all of a sudden I was like, cause I have these I got them from, I got them from Michael's. They're little books that you can make into children's books, by hand. Mm-hmm. And I have some that have white covers, some that have black covers, and some that have rainbow covers. So I was like, I could take those and I could just, draw the doodles in there. I have the alphabet and then I have a monster or something that starts with the letter, and then leave it like that so that way the children can color them the way they want to color them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Jenny, really? Like, I don't have enough to do. But I don't mind. No, I love them. I just don't. Yeah, because, and once I have them scanned up to Patty, then I was thinking I can just, I'll see if there's any interest in them and maybe sell them.
It doesn't hurt to put them up.
I know.
An idea or like some type of graphic or something to share. I have teachers I can send them to. I can share them at our local school.
Geez, don't make this any harder on me. Really, woman?
You said you want to see if you can sell them.
See, now you could have just kept that to yourself, because now the pressure is like on my head going, oh my God, my art is not as good as Patty's. What is wrong with you?
That's okay.
I think your art is amazing. Your
That's
porcelain
okay. She's got me
If you
making
say so.
That's okay. She's got me making bookmarks for her daughter's class, and
My
I'm
daughter
sitting there
so
going,
appreciate
"Oh
you.
my God!"
Oh, jeez.
They appreciate you so much.
I've got 18 out of 35 made. I've just got to clean them up, and then I haven't poured any more.
Wow.
Today. I just was like, you know what? No, I'm not doing it.
That's why I gave you a range until after Christmas. They can be late Christmas presents if all's failed.
Yeah. So
It's just they keep trying to steal my bear, and he already stole my husband stole the whale.
Well, the bear one's
wonderful.
giving me trouble. It doesn't want to pour. That one's going to be the least. Like, I'll send you pictures like tomorrow or the next day of what I've got, but that one's going to be the least amount of. That's going to be like the rarest of all of them, because it doesn't want to pour.
Okay. That's okay.
Yeah, so Phil, this is what else we do. It's not just we try to get artists, to submit, so we can put them up on the blog and stuff, but that hasn't been as big. So we're hoping that maybe if we, maybe doing this artwork that we do, doing the coloring books and the activity books and the bookmarks, and I'm hoping that maybe I can do some stickers, because I have like this little sticker machine that I can take my hand drawings and stick it through, put it through, and it'll turn it into a sticker.
Oh, nice.
And I have a laminating machine, and stuff like that. There's a what?
There's a die-cast punch machine for that. I'm just not sure how cheap it is.
Oh yeah, no,
that's like almost $200, because I looked into it.
No. The one that I got, I think I got it at like Michael's, and it was only like maybe $20 or $30. So, it's nothing expensive, but it's, it does what I need it to do. And that's pretty much, and then I have the lamination machine and, things like that. So, maybe when we start putting our art up some more, and maybe we can convince other artists to start bringing stuff, so we have more art to put in our newsletter and up on the blog and, things of that nature. So people realize that, no, we're not just a writing, publishing company. We're just a publishing company for indie authors, indie artists, whatever.
Because we try and attract to our community those that are like us, which so far we've been doing. It's just slow going.
Yeah, and I agree. And I know the best man at my wedding, and I was married in Rehoboth Beach, as we talked about earlier about Rehoboth Beach in Delaware, and I was actually married there. And my best man is a wonderful artist, and he did the covers to those 3 anthologies I told you about earlier that I was recruiting up-and-coming writers and trying to give them some exposure.
Dante, no.
Well, he also did, because we were trying to basically do a pulp-type theme to these anthologies of the old pulp magazines that had tended to have black and white illustrations for each story. He did one for every single story. So we were trying to incorporate art. And then by the third book, we had 4 more artists come in working with us, doing digital art and hand art, pencil sketch art, and just wonderful, and I've been in science fiction fandom and attending conventions for decades. And in fandom, you can't throw a stone in any direction without hitting some talented filmmaker, artist, writer, comic book artist, anyone, And so fandom and many of the veteran professional writers I've met through, reading science fiction growing up, going to conventions with my stack of books and going up to them and having them sign them all and pestering them with my questions about writing and publishing as I did over the years, and getting to know me because of that, is pretty much, what launched me into this endeavor, into this life endeavor of writing.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my husband, because my husband's a dungeon master. He DMs for us for our D&D games and stuff. At the moment, his brother is, but my husband's usually the one that does it. And Patty and I are constantly, Mike helps too, we're constantly trying to get him to finish, one of his games.
Right.
And, either publishing it or sending it into somewhere, or whatever. Because ask anybody that's been in a game with him, this man, I get so mad at him because he is yet to be in any of our anthologies. But he is so good. Okay,
So
he makes me feel like I can't, like my writing is like nothing. Because his descriptions are just so, you can just like fall into his descriptions and you're like right there. So I'm hoping, everybody keep your fingers crossed, that for our Seeking Adventures book, since it's right up his alley, we'll finally get a story.
Very good.
Yeah. My uncle did a lot of the conventions when I was a kid, so I came from a lot of people that were creative. My mom did quilts. My grandmother, she was all over sewing, crochet, that sort of thing. My uncle did cosplay before cosplay was a thing.
Back when it was called masquerade and the costume ball. Cosplay is a relatively new term.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, he would show up at my birthday parties as Spider-Man, as Darth Vader, and his costumes were so good. At one point, I had a picture. I don't have my pictures anymore, but I used to have a picture of him with Stan Lee in his Spider-Man costume. He did all of his costumes without any patterns. It was all just, I saw this on the screen and decided I was going to make it.
Wow.
And between that and my grandmother was a wonderful storyteller. I'm going to be trying still to put together an anthology that's just her stories. And my boyfriend's grandmother wrote a little bit of poetry. I'm putting that in there. And then if I can get anybody else's grandmother's stories, it's all going to go in there.
I'm currently waiting for Aunt Cindy, my aunt that I was named for. She's still looking through my Grandma Snow's writings, because apparently my grandmother was an amazing writer. She wrote like poetry and children's stories and stuff like that. So my aunt, who has them, is supposed to be, she's working through them. She has cancer, so it's kind of been slow going. She's, slowly going through all the writings, and then she's gonna mail them to me so that I can give some, to Patty to put in that.
Nice.
Because I think that would be amazing to have my grandmother, because she died in 2012, and have her published posthumously?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
So I think
that would
be
be
kind
the
of cool.
perfect place to put it, because at that point, it's all of their stories. It's more than one grandmother.
Yeah.
So
I guess technically you and I should put in some stories though too, because we're both grandmas.
probably. I might come up with something there. I don't know.
I mean, both of us have plenty of stories, and we're both from, the 70s, unlike most of our friends who weren't born until like late 80s, 90s.
I can't hope I was born in 86.
Well, you're actually older than my oldest child, but not by much. My oldest son was born in 89.
Okay.
So,
What the heck? No, stop. Sorry.
And thank you for putting books out close to my birthday.
when's your birthday, honey?
This is the 14th.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's
Oh.
right.
Of
We shared
December?
birthdays.
No,
November.
Come on. I remember.
days?
Oh, no,
2
that's
days
right. Your
ago.
birthday was just, oh, that's right. I forgot your birthday was 2 days ago.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Facebook me an apology. It didn't warn me.
I remember now posting a fairy on your page because I thought you'd enjoy
there was
it.
a gorgeous fairy.
If you can't tell, I'm still recovering from being sick, so I'm kind of, I want to say derptitude. I'm just kind of half there.
That's also another reason why I gave you such a big time range, because you're probably still tired and icky.
We've all
So-
been there.
What happened to
She's been having tech issues, so she's been popping in and out.
Okay.
And there she is. Is it want me to add her? Yes. Come on, Maddie.
I don't know what is going on with my. It's like every time somebody tries to call through, it sends everything wacko.
So, do you typically add your books to Goodreads? Your faithful books?
Honestly, no, because I don't know what I'm doing with Goodreads.
Yeah, no, but Andrew has been adding us to Goodreads. I think he's got us all up there.
Because I do their
Yeah.
annual reading challenge where you select a number of books you intend to read at the beginning of the year, and you try to make the goal. And I was hoping to add the Fae Core books to my, I've already exceeded my goal
Phil-
for the year, but I want to add them, to
Yeah,
my
Phil,
list.
if
I
you
wish
look
I
up
could.
Andrew, what's his last name? McDowell.
McDowell.
Yeah,
if you look
he's
him
one
up-
of. He's been in several of ours.
Mhm.
He's been
Yeah.
in. He was in. I think he was in Fae Dreams. I'm not sure, but he was in Fae. He was in Fairy Footprints, and then he was in one of the Nightmare Whispers.
Mhm.
And I think he was in Into the Glen. I'm not sure. I have to go back and look. But
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that he has all of our anthologies up on his Goodreads.
yeah,
okay.
he's been very
Because I-
kind in adding us to Goodreads. Like I said, I don't add them because I don't understand Goodreads.
I will go up there and I'll make an account for us and I'll fiddle around with it. I'll try and figure it out. So, but yeah, just go through Andrews for now, and I'll let you. Of course, obviously, I'll pop up the link once I've figured
Sure.
out.
Sure. Yep. Sounds
But-
good.
I do have a reading list on books to read, which is Draft to Digitals, that I keep updated because it's fairly easy.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Mhm.
It's got not only all of our books, but books by the authors that we have put out.
Mhm.
It has, I think it's still got KT Seto's books on there. She was our marketing girl for a good bit of time, and so I added them because marketing girl, she's
Right.
a part of the family. But it's got all the books from Fae Core. It's got all of my books. It's got all of Cindy's from before Fae Core.
The whole 3.
Hey, 3's better than none, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. Actually, it might be 2. I don't know. Kiko's not up there anymore, unless you
I
put it up.
noticed that one of them's missing from Amazon.
Okay.
I'll have to go through and look and see what's missing, and we'll adjust
Well,
it.
it's one of her children's books.
Well,
Yeah, it's the Kiko. I don't think is up there because remember I was gonna. Did I get you that stuff, by the way? I don't even
I
know
don't
if I
think
got.
you did. I think that's why it's still not up there because you hadn't gotten me
Probably.
stuff.
Oh,
Um,
there's a month left. Can you please get me the book before the 17th, Miss Patty?
I already planned on it. I can't do it this week. I've got it. I've got it
No, I
signed.
just need it before the 17th of next month.
It'll be here. It'll be there. If nothing else, I'll get it out on the 1st if I haven't done it before then.
Okay.
I've got
Okay.
it. It's sitting in my room. It's
Okay.
already signed. I just got to drop it off at the post office.
Okay.
So that I haven't forgot you. As a matter of fact, I was showing it to Cindy and Raz when we did his release party, or was it? No, it wasn't his party. It was the one before that. Whatever the one before that was.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever it was, but it was Cindy and whoever it was. I was showing it to them because it is gorgeous. It turned out beautifully. So,
I can't wait for her to see it.
yeah, I'm right proud of that, honestly. So,
Which one are we
When I
talking
I
about?
ordered 2 of the hardbacks, and my daughter saw them come in, and she's like, "Okay, that's mine."
Oh, are you
That's
talking about
a
your
story.
poetry book that you got the print
No.
for?
Madness and Truth.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah, that
My
was gorgeous.
mother-in-law
It was
loved it,
excellent.
so
Me
I
and
asked if
Ashlyn.
she could help me get it for the birthday.
Yeah. And like I said, it'll be out. If I haven't done it before then, it'll be out on the 1st in the mail. And I'll have a tracking number for you. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Hey, Phil, I have a dumb question. How do I log out of Goodreads? I can't find it.
It should be actually, since I'm on the page right now, at the very top right of the screen where you sign in, there should be a sign out, or at least somewhere near your profile. Let me log in here. I have it actually up on my screen.
Like I said, Goodreads confuses me. Apparently, I can't provide them enough information to be an author on Goodreads, even though I have provided them book links and ISBNs and.
That's odd.
I mean, I can't prove I'm me for some reason.
That's weird.
All right,
No,
so yes, at the very top.
It may be because I'm on my Kindle. That might be why it's all kind of not.
Oh, so yeah, I'm on my laptop, so it's a little bit different.
All right, let me pull it up on the actual web site and see if that makes it a little bit easier. Yeah, my daughter was always teasing me because of the fact she's like, Mom, why are you so bad at technology? And I'm like, hello, I didn't grow up with it. It's like when I was a teenager, we had pagers.
Yeah,
and
same.
The computers were just starting to come out, and they were the most basic of computers that you have ever seen in your life.
When I was 10, my dad got me an Atari 6500 XE. That was my first computer, but all he got me was the keyboard. So every time I wanted to play a program, I had to type the whole program in because I didn't have a disk.
Right. Oh, jeez.
That's right.
That's tough. Yeah, that's
cool. That's all the project right there.
But you know, that was the best he could do at the time.
Yeah. Because that was what we had.
Yeah. So, but I tease my dad because my dad's always been fairly backwards in technology. He still has a flip phone. And he just, the last year or so, has gotten to where he can do texts. And, you know, he still, up until like last year, had 8 tracks in his vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that, though. 8 tracks for the bomb.
I consider myself, considering the way my father is with technology, I consider myself fairly advanced. And then I've got a teenager who makes me feel like I'm completely an idiot when it comes to technology because, you know, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, no, when I have to learn a new thing, like my daughter kept telling me, oh, you know, she's all like, Mom, you need to get an iPhone. And I'm like, do you know how long it took me to just learn how to operate my Kindle and then my Android? And you want me to learn an iPhone? I don't think so. I'll stick to my Android. Thank you very much.
Same.
Like, nope. It's like, I will stick with what I know.
But I always feel like my father when I do that because he was adamant for years he didn't need any better technology than what he had.
Yeah, my parents were that way for a while too. But now my mom's got a phone and she's got a computer and she still doesn't know how to do half the stuff. She's got to ask me like when you know, I'm sending her something or like if she wants to read my blog and she's just like, how do I get to that again? And I'm like, this is the site, click on the link and it'll take you right to it.
That's part of the reason when I set up the links, and I'm always the one that set them up, all of Faecor's buy links, because I go in and I add as I can to each of the links, you know, locations they can buy.
Mm-hmm.
But all of our buy links are Draft to Digital's books2read.com. You know, they're, and what I do is I always change them to the title of the book.
Mm-hmm. Okay, can you do me a favor on that topic? Can you not do what you did with I think it was
Remember Nightmares? Yeah, that one
whichever
was a
one
mess.
you used, the one that you used all the hyphens with.
What happened with that one is I
was like trying to save it and it won't because there's all these hyphens. I could save the first half, and then I couldn't save the last, in my thing, so that way when I start typing it, I can just click it and I don't have to write like 50 million words. And I was just like, why did she use all these hyphens? What happened?
What happened is I had tried to set up the buy link before the review period was done. Because there's a review period when you set up a book. There's always a review period where they go through and make sure everything's kosher.
Right.
Mhm.
I tried to set up the bookstoread.com link before that was done. So when I set it up, it set up. But then when the book was done, it wouldn't let me keep that because it was already taken.
Really?
So I had to go in and reset it up.
That's ridiculous.
And that's how it set up the second time. And that's the one that stuck.
Gotcha.
Okay. Well, I knew that there had to be a really good reason because I knew she wouldn't have done that to me on purpose.
I always make it the book title. Like Nightmare Whispers, The Darkness Within. That's the link for the Nightmare Whispers first book. Silence is Crimson. Bookstoread.com, Silence is Crimson.
Sure.
That's Raz's book. We do that with all the books. That way it's easy to remember. It's easy to pass out. Hey, This is our book. And here it is.
Right.
And people are more likely, even if they don't click on it right then, they're more likely to remember it and go back and type it in.
Yep.
Because
Absolutely.
it's stuck.
Yep.
I always add Amazon to it because I have to do Amazon separately. I am still working on getting some of the places set up, but I usually go in and do Smashwords. I usually go in and do Google Play. And as I do, I add them. I'm a little behind, so I'm still working on getting some of these books up on Google Play and Smashwords and the like. Smashwords, like Draft to Digital, has expanded where you can add to other places, but I don't like their requirements.
Okay.
Like, they will go through and nitpick if your formatting is not perfect, where it's got this amount of space before each paragraph, and
Yeah, I know some publishers that work with them for their distribution of ebooks. Yeah.
So I don't like the nitpicky ones because I like the formatting we put in.
Right.
And I don't feel like the distribution should have a say in the formatting we put in. I mean, if I put it together and say, you as an author say, I would like my formatting to be this. Unless I think that's going to mess up the whole book, I'm likely to do it.
Yeah.
You can ask Mike. There's been a couple times he's been like, one of my paragraphs is off. Because, formatting it messed it up somehow.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I've gone in and I've fixed it to where it was what he wanted. I try not to go against what the author wants because this is your vision, not mine. We are we're not here to put our stamp on your writing. We're here to put your writing out.
Right. And I appreciate that. And I'm obviously I try to be easy to work with. I'm I'm thrilled with Break and Enter, the way it's formatted, the way it looks in the book. It's absolutely fantastic. So I definitely appreciate the experience of working with you. It's wonderful. So,
well, we hope you continue to.
Once I get back on the short story horse again, because I want to get this next novel out, but I'll be back on and I have a couple more coming out next year that I wrote, earlier, but I'll definitely be looking at what your open calls are in the future for sure. So,
well, like I said, we always put them, as far as I'm concerned, the authors in the Discord get first shot at everything. So we try and put it in the Discord 2 to 3 months before we put it on the blog.
Gotcha.
Because the ones in the Discord are usually ones that have worked with us before or found us through ones that have worked with us before.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's a perk for being in our Discord community.
Yeah.
You can see our open calls before anyone else.
And I appreciate that. Absolutely.
We are probably only going to do 3 authors unless someone comes to us and says, hey, here's this idea. I have it already. Can you squeeze me in?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do about 3 authors a year other than our anthologies.
Right.
You
don't want to burn yourselves out either. That's
exactly.
So, yeah.
Where we stand on it is the author ends up getting a better contract with us than they probably will anywhere else. Because what our contracts for books are is we pay the author all but 25%. 25% of what the book makes comes to us. The rest goes to the author. And like I said, we do our best to make sure that the author has a good experience.
Yeah.
We've had 2 this year that did not because of the printer. And they blamed us.
Yep.
So
it happens.
It does. And we're sorry that we lost them, but at the same time, one of them was not a loss because he spent more time yelling at me than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Lord. Who has time for that, right?
None of us do.
Well,
None of
on
us
that note, I do have to run. So thank you so much. I really enjoyed the process. I hope to submit again, like I said, next year when
we
you
do
get back
too.
to running.
We will be most glad to see you again. And we'll see you around in Discord for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And of course on Facebook and whatnot as well. So absolutely.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, because we try to make sure that our authors know that even if you're not submitting, you are still allowed to be in Discord. You don't have to stay quiet. You don't have to, you are still welcome there because as far as we're concerned, you are one of our family now. So
greatly appreciate that. And again, that's,
welcome
as I said before, community is all important,
It really is.
With me as well. And networking and meeting new writers and expanding my community is something that I treasure deeply. So I really appreciate meeting all of you and working with all of you on these projects. And it's been wonderful. And we'll see you down the road on the next one.
Okay. Good luck on your book.
Thank you. Have a great night, everybody.
Good luck.
You too.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Patty, you can probably say goodbye and turn off the live.
Yeah, I think we're going to end the broadcast here, and then I will probably upload it tomorrow to the party room, or later tonight. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So we're
that's fine.
We're in